start, we will start the meeting. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening and welcome to RAAH's weekly meeting number 49. I'm taking great pleasure to highlight this meeting as we have two dignitaries from business who are going to share with us their thoughts, their own experience, because as we have already explained in our invitee that they are also like us, came from rural background like Kolhapur and Rajgurnagar and settled their own businesses at Europe region and Middle East. And now everyone is facing the situation of pandemic. So there may be many negatives, but there are positives as well. So how that has been compared, how that has been compared, and this is the right opportunity to know about the business intelligence during pandemic. So overall program would be, we will have a overview of RAAH weekly progress meeting 48, announcement of upcoming sessions, introduction of business forum speakers. Then 9:40 to 10, it will be business forum presentation of speaker number 1, Vishwas Shinde sir. Then 10 to 10:20, there will be second speaker, business forum presentation 2. And then 10:20 to 10:30, there will be open discussion and concluding remarks. So,
Right.
yeah. So, last meeting, we all enjoyed a very professional, a very thorough meeting on education and life in Canada. It has been organized by our RAAH overseas community, and that was fantastically executed. Though it was supported by Global Association for Corporate Services, again another a big corporate service association with us, where our friend, my colleague Abba Sahib Kale is heading that organization since its inception, and that is also doing fantastic. And in collaboration with them, this education and life in Canada was a very rightly, very professionally briefed by our alumni Amit Patil, who moderated all this session very nicely, very flawlessly. I can say it was a flawless performance. Even we all RAAH task members got the feedback also. That was a flawless performance and very useful. Even the families of the alumni were joined. Even I got 2-3 calls telling that it was a fantastic, it was informative, and it is useful. Even though requested, if we have some additional programs as such, so that will be again we will discuss in our RAAH's task force meeting. That panel was with Ajinkya Patil, Kishore Tare, Akshay Patil, Venkata Devu, and Guruvinder Singh ji. It was a fantastic meeting, and I again thank Amit Patil for this nice and flawless session. So this announcement, it is a big and grand announcement we are going to enjoy, and I think it will be a national knowledge conclave. I believe this before National Knowledge Conclave, sorry, it will be a weekly progress meeting, which will be arranged on 12th, that is on 15th of weekly progress meeting, where all our communities will be reporting to our advisors. We have committee advisors, a big personalities like Marathi sir, who is a mentor and advisor to us. And again, there are few we are adding who are.
Ramesh, we got confirmations from 3 others, so I'm really pleased
great
to mention here. We have got confirmation and for our invitation from Mr. Sandeep Shinde, who is head for Digital Impact Square, an initiative from Tata Trust. We got confirmation from Samir Saxena, General Secretary of Global Association for Corporate Services.
Great.
We got confirmation today from Professor Principal Sushma Kulkarni ma'am as Director of RIT, and we already, like you rightly pointed out, Mr. Sharad Marathe, who is Chairman of Special Task Force, Ayush Ministry, and Special Advisor to Prime Minister Office. So I think really glad that they will be reviewing our progress on this particular meeting, 50th meeting. Sanjay sir and Vishwas sir, can you mute your mic so that we can hear it? Because if there is any disturbance, यहाँ पे आवाज आता है. If you can mute Sanjay sir and Vishwas sir, when you speak, you can just open up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
that's
Abba. It is a very good achievement for RAAH that we got such a dignitaries on our board as a advisory committee advisory, and surely it is going to help. And this is biggest announcement. We are enjoying our RAAH's first anniversary celebration as a 52nd weekly meeting, a national level knowledge conclave on successful collaborations in social engineering and opportunities for new era technology startups. I think, Abba, all things and all speakers and all dignitaries are from your end, and you know better than us. So I would request you to just have your, 2 minutes
Yeah.
brief on this, please.
Thank you, Ramesh. Thank you for excellent opening. I am really pleased that I think this journey is completing 1 year, and we are very glad to celebrate first celebration, yearly annual celebration. And when we discuss this subject with our task force as well as RIT top management, I think we had decided. In fact, we first decided that we'll do one small function, but then we decided why don't we do a big function as a annual event, and this is going to be annual event every year. So first of all, I'm really glad that we will be having guest of honor, Mr. Sharad Marathe, Chairman of Task Force of Ayush Ministry. Today I spoke to Mr. Sandeep Shinde, and he agreed to moderate the entire panel. Before that, the great Satyajit Bhatkar, Chief Executive Officer of Pani Foundation, he is going to be our chief guest and main speaker for this entire show. And he was very happy to connect with you, being from rural area, and very happy to know that we are completing weekly meetings as alumni. He is going to talk about successful collaboration in social engineering, and Pani Foundation has really set a great example what a cinestar can do. Yeah, day before yesterday, I joined Amir and Satyajit for their program for soybean. I will not believe, I think Amir spoke in Marathi. More than 3,000 farmers from Maharashtra joined this. They are doing a big online program for cultivation of soybean technically and increasing the yield. So we thank Satyajit Bhatkarji to join us. And coming back to the main feature of the entire program, which is successful opportunities in startups. So we have the DISC, which is a great example for us that we want to do something like Digital Impact Square in RIT at Sakrale. It should become a social hub to solve the social problems. And that's where all the speakers, Gaurav Somanshi, Aditya Kulkarni, Akshay Dikshit, Kalyani Shinde, and Parag Narvekar, they are some of the best brains globally. Gaurav is a global blockchain expert. So does Aditya. Aditya is MIT's Business Forum jury. So there are serious advisors, private equity funds who invest in MIT's best ideas, and Aditya sir on that community. Akshay is another great brain. He has created applications like Uber for agriculture. He has done excellent job with a foundation called Godam. And Parag Narvekar, a professional who has worked in NASA for 15 years and now advisor to ISRO and PM office. So guys, you are going to get a great treat for your knowledge grid. And I request all of the present here, please block your date, 26th June, morning 9:30 to 12:30. Over to you, Ramesh. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Abba. It was very nice, and we are eager to meet all these dignitaries. And definitely, it is a national level knowledge conclave. So we are inviting to friends, good friends, as well as business friends, and definitely it will be valuable to us. So please welcome our RAAH Alumni Weekly Meeting number 49, and I would like to welcome our first speaker, Sri Vishwas Shinde ji. Abba, here is again from my end Shinde. You brought all Shindes from Nashik, the Shindes from Kolhapur. Okay. He came from rural area, and he developed his business setup in Scotland. Since last 20 years, he is in Scotland, and his company is Elixir Consultants UK Limited. He is founder member of Aberdeen Marathi Mandal, president of European Marathi Sammelan, Aberdeen, and he opened his another firm, VSSR Enterprises in India, to look after all global needs. I think more than me, Vishwas sir will explain better, because I'm very proud of him, and I'm with him since last few years, coming from rural area and developed all these things. I think he is a very good seminar presenter for Shivaji University as well. So rather than talking much from my end, I would request Vishwas Shinde sir to take over, and please start your term. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ramesh Saab. It's only thing I don't know how to give, how to basically bring my slides, because I'm
Uh,
used to only.
no, no,
So
we
I
are
will
arranged. Yeah,
I will share the screen.
yeah,
Okay, just give me a second.
Yeah,
please.
yeah, yeah. No issue, no issue, no issue. Yeah. So what I have to do? Right. Okay, that's fine. So you open from your end, correct? Hello, can you hear
Yes,
me?
sir. Rohit is controlling the session,
Yes,
sir.
sir. I will
Right.
share
Okay,
the.
that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. I thought probably I had to really open from my side, but it's okay. Yeah, if Rohit is opening, that's fine. Uh, See, myself, Vishwas Shinde. I'm from Kolhapur district, and basically from Panhala Tehsil, and village name is Boriude. My father was a farmer, and if I want to really talk about myself, I studied up to fourth class in a very small school around 10 by 3 in a size. So it's basically one teacher, Jilla Parishad teacher, teaching for all four classes, and therein basically, all classes together, and it's only sitting at the ground. There was no benches or something at the time. Many times in the rainy season, the school will be, dripping water inside. So all that type of, that was the situation at that time. The schools were not really well managed by the Jilla Parishads and all that. So, okay, that's fine. But after that, when my teacher found me, that is really because I think in the first class, or before I joined into the school, I used to have all barakhadis plus didki aditski and all that. So he said, oh, before joining, only as he has got so much of a good memory and all that, I think after this fourth class he should not be here, otherwise it will be a waste of, and he advised me to join a public school that is in Kolhapur, that is called the Rajarshi Shahu Chhatrapati Vidyaniketan, where from, all I think most of this school was successful in creating so many IAS officers, and then probably so many doctors and engineers from my class. So this school concept was to pick up good students from rural areas and give them a free education. So around 40 students from each year were picked up from Kolhapur district, from rural areas, and give them a free education, and get them developed, to a great level. And from my class, around 40 people were there. We were all the students of, our background was, our father were working in, farming areas and all that. So out of that 40 students, I think around 30 students became engineers and doctors. So one of the example IS officer is Naneshwar Mule. He's from our same school. You must have heard him. He was probably a candidate for, Khandagle constituency from BJP was, but anyway, he is long time in IFS, Indian Foreign Services, right? So I basically, if you really see my initial ongoings or something, I basically uh, studied initially in a village area and then studied into a public school wherein I got really good imbibement of what needs to be done in my life and uh, forward basically, I was a merit student in 10th class. That was SSC. Later on I joined to the LIT, which is a chemical engineering college, and from there onwards I was not really doing great there, in the sense in the college days there was basically an expectation to really be to get a first class and join some operating company where you don't have to work, you don't have to study more, and you just basically manage the workers, manage the people. But when I joined Gharda Chemical Chiprun, I realized that no, this is not a job what I'm looking for. And then I moved from operating company to a engineering company called as Ude India, where the technologies related work was being done. Mostly this caustic soda and ammonia technology, urea technology is their expertise. So there I started working, and from there onwards, basically, worked some time for Alkali Mines Chemicals Limited as well, where I got really good experience in particularly managing the project, not only from technical perspective but from commercial aspects as well. Handle so many vendors where got a good really experience about exposure about what type of vendors are there, how the calculate, how costing is done. And there onwards, I basically moved out of India and joined some of the companies in Middle East. Multinational companies in Middle East, and from one of the good company where I worked was a RAAH Gas. It's a Qatar-based company which is in the LNG production. And there onwards, I just moved to UK. I got a chance to really come to UK, and joined a company which is again in oil and gas industry, where I got really a good name and fame, because one of the platform basically which was not being commissioned by these local guys here in Aberdeen. They just told me that Vishwas, come here and try your last luck or something, and if you really are successful, that's fine. I said, okay, it's a win-win situation. If I could commission that, that's fine. If I don't commission, I will say to them, yeah, guys, you will not be able to do that. So what? So I am also there. So I said I took that challenge and went to the platform. You heard about this offshore, basically we'll have a platform, and then where you will be really working. It's basically sometimes around your area it's only completely sea, and sometimes you feel you have a nausea or something like that. But anyway, where basically when I joined there to the production team, initially they said, oh, he's an Indian guy, what he's going to do? But then when they really started interacting with me after 2 or 3 days, they realized, yeah, this whatever I'm just doing is going to work basically. And when I sit next to the panel controller, and I said, okay, just follow my instructions and I will commission the plant. And in a joke, basically, they say, okay, Vishwas, how to start? Then I said, yeah, we have to really break the coconut. And then he said, yeah, we'll bring coconut of, full vessel of coconut, but it is the thing that we should really start the plant. I said, okay. I said it is a tradition in India that, yeah, when we really start something, we break the coconut. So then basically, started the plant, and the plant which was not being commissioned by these white guys, I could be able to bring it online within next 2 days. And they were so impressed, and I think everywhere basically the news flashed, and they said, yeah, okay, yeah, one Indian gentleman came and commissioned the plant. And with that success, basically, I got into as a technical authority in the same company. and stayed there for a long time, probably next 3 years. So afterwards, basically, I got promoted to engineering manager, and when I got promoted to engineering manager, I brought around 30 to 40 Indian families to UK, maybe around 30 to 35 Marathi families. Basically, what the intention was to, bring my own team here so that, in future, if I start my own company or something, all these people will be helpful to me. And these people are still in Aberdeen. Some people have left because of oil and gas issues, but some people are still there. So then afterwards, basically, I started my own company, which is basically Elixir Consultant UK Limited. So this company, what basically I started in 2012. So here in UK or Aberdeen, what happens, which is a good thing, is I'll tell you, I have basically registered one company in India that is called the VSSR, but it becomes a very difficult in India to really start any company. I could start this company within 3 to 4 days time. So basically, you have to go online, put up your papers, whatever information, and then you register your company and you can start working for that company in next 3 to 4 days. So I started this company. The intention was to give engineering services to the oil and gas industry because that is my forte. Oil and gas industry, whatever the various engineering services are required. I worked for many operators. I worked for consultants as well. So I had a brain. I had basically a mix of all experience from operations, from projects, from technical services, from specialty services. We will talk to about that as well. So now with this company Elixir, we have multidisciplinary engineering and technical support to the not only to UK now. Now we have office in Aberdeen, we have office in Surat, Mumbai, and then Melbourne. So there we have main offices now we have started in Mumbai because mainly the cheap labor source is available in India, and I think every company like Shell as well, they are trying to set up a big offices in India so that most of the engineering work can be done in India. And in future, basically, particularly in oil and gas, since the oil price is quite low, we have to have that type of combination so that the whole project cost can be optimized. So that's the intention. So we have a full, basically, we have a team sitting in all these places. So what we do normally, we try to get work done in India, like maybe 70% of the engineering cost will be from India, 30% cost from UK and other places where we can assure the quality assurance is from mostly from people from Aberdeen and people from internationally. So we have access to pool of multidisciplinary engineers in India. Other basically, what I did here along with Elixir, that we have friends like Ramesh Jadhav here, who has got his own company, who is in global expediting and inspection services. So he has joined me as well as a part of one group. So under Elixir, basically, we try to take work for inspection and expediting, and I pass on that to the Ramesh. And we have similar type of companies in Mumbai, which are under my under the umbrella of Elixir. So we bring a holistic. When we really try to basically approach to the client or something, what we try to say that we don't look at a problem in isolation. We just look at holistically the any problem issue or something. We review it from all angle, from chemistry angle, from engineering angle, all that. So next, basically, what is our vision? Vision is a partnership of sharing wider benefits. So we would like to be a partner with clients in the sense their problem is our problem, and we try to resolve their problem. Then supporting the customers, that's our mission for running their efficient and respond profitable business, because they need to really get money out of their business, and we support for that. Yeah. So in technology expertise, what we are just here when we talk about the technology or something, what mean to say that we have a people available to deal with this technology. It's not a technology we have developed any technology or something, but we have dealt with those technologies. We have a people who we have experience in enhanced oil recovery, power plants, upstream oil and gas treatment, LNG regasification. We talk about renewable energy now, solar energy and all that. Plus basically produce water treatment. Now another issue basically where our expertise, we just wanted to bring it to the forum and bring it to the people in India, is energy transition. That is basically, now most of the companies in Europe, they are going away from fossil fuel, and they are basically they are basically moving that energy sector into the hydrogen sector. So when you really try to manufacture hydrogen, you have issues with the carbon dioxide as well. So that carbon capture and storage and hydrogen, that's the energy transition is taking place in Europe. So where I myself has got a good expertise in that. I have given so many presentations to various organizations worldwide, IMECI and IKME. So there we would like to really further basically enhance ourselves. And I'm trying to tie up with ISER Pune for developing some of the amines to capture that CO2. So let's see how it goes further. Then in the refinery and petrochemicals, yeah, any question?
No. Vishal sir, no. You go ahead, Vishwaji.
Okay, no issue. So refinery and petrochemicals, we have a people, we have knowledge on all the refinery, unit sectors like CDU, VDU, hydrotreater, reformer, FCC, sulfur recovery, steam cracker. So any refinery related problem is there. So they are trying to develop one sector in ours, that is called the remote technical services for refineries and petrochemicals, where we know what we will try to do is we will get all their information data regularly daily, and with that information we can suggest them how they can improve the production, how they can reduce their energy levels, so that all that refining or petrochemical sector becomes more profitable. Then we have chemicals as well, so where we can help them to really again to resolve their problems in day-to-day operations, plus basically debottlenecking studies. If they wanted to really go up in they want to increase the production, so what needs to be done to really increase their production. So that's in chemical sectors, particularly these sectors we have a good experience in aliphatic amines or biorefinery or PNC, ONCB. Caustic chlorine, basically I was there at the GACL, Gujarat Alkalis and Chemicals, for 1.5 years for commissioning of the plant, complete pre-commissioning, commissioning. So we have got a good understanding about that as well. So similarly, basically we have a people, or I myself basically is good in water treatment, like RO plants, boiler feed water treatment, cooling water, wastewater treatment, sewage treatment, sewer water treatment. So there also water treatment. Yeah, we are there. From this is basically from technology perspective. When we talk about the business overview, what we try to do as Elixir. So we have an engineering division, we have specialty services, and we have these are the 4 divisions here. So under engineering, basically we have a suite of complete suite of from concept to decommissioning. Means basically we can start if anything is there, like what is called as opportunity realization. Means basically you have some ideas, you wanted to really do something and invest money in particular sector. So what we can do is basically we can develop a concept. We can, in that concept, basically we can tell that this is what is required to be a best technology, and with that technology, what is the recovery and all that from commercial purpose. And then we can develop into a feed and detailed design and commission that complete plant, and then hand over to operations. And then if required, we can give operation support as well. Yeah. Then we do. Yeah, we do basically. Last slide, please. Yeah, please. I have not completed. So. Yeah. So specialty services. In that specialty services, what we are what we do in oil and gas, particularly the flow assurance studies. I don't know how many people are aware of what happens in subsea. Subsea is a subsea pipeline, basically connecting all the wells to the topsides platform, where you need to know how that flow is going to take place, whether any issues with the hydrate and wax and all. These are the technical terminology. I don't know whether you are aware of that, but we have to do some studies, basically how much minimum flow is required, any injection is required to avoid those waxy issues and all that, or hydrate issues. So similar way, basically we can do a dynamic simulation. Dynamic simulation is again where you can really exactly predict what is going to happen after 1 hour, maybe after 1.5 hours, and then accordingly what steps are required to manage any issue. We do technical safety studies like HAZOP, HAZID, and all that, plus QRA, qualitative risk analysis. Then we do a 3D point cloud survey, in the sense, what is, if suppose the plants are quite old or something, and that needs to be, we don't have drawings available or something, then what this 3D point cloud survey will help to get that plant converted into a 3D modeling, PDMS modeling. Then we have people in production chemistry. Then other services, particularly, is about plant automation, machine monitoring. So you have already a plant which is running, and you have issues with machine monitoring. Your compressor is not working. Your pump has got some issues or something. So we go there. We basically study those, and then we try to come out with the solution. Similarly, with the in automation also, there are some issues. We just support them. We again give trainings for the operators. Then we give a training for machine monitoring systems as well. Uh, then we basically, if required, we can basically send people for help. Like secondment, what we call. We have experts available. They can come to your plant and tell you, the study the system, and then tell you, advise you basically what needs to be done. Similarly, Ramesh Jadhav Saab is in this inspection expediting. So I think he must have explained many times what he does. So I don't need to really go to that. Okay.
Vishwas sir, we are running short of time.
Okay. Okay.
So I'm extending this for further more few minutes. But
Yeah, no
our
problem.
main agenda is to have an impact on pandemic, on business,
So
and how
yeah,
to, how you faced and how you have been overcome, and what are your suggestions, please?
yeah, sure. So here, when we talk about the pandemic here in oil and gas, the challenges were really uh, big, in the sense, if you really see this graph, the oil price was crashed, and because of it, oil price was gone into a negative side. If you really see the second graph, so that caused very panic in oil and gas industry. Lot people basically lost the job, and other thing is because you cannot really, everybody has to really work from home. There will be a lot of disturbance from operational disruption plus supply chain risk, basically, because supply chain also, a lot of people were will not available, and supply chain, there were a lot of disruptions in the supply chain. Then what basically government of UK did is a force major provisions. They said, yeah, whomsoever contractors are there, they should really have force major provisions in key contracts, so that you can exit the contract, or you can you have excuse to not performing that particular job. Then government also supported many industries, and that basically give more shift towards direct involvement in national economies, and basically more shift to the nationalization worldwide. Then borrowing money as borrowing base also, financially there were some companies went into the default, and I think some of the bankers basically either they have accepted that default, or they enforce their security right. So that's basically impact. What is the positive about the next slide? Yeah, please. So remedies, basically what happened during that time when the oil price crashed or something. Many companies basically, what first thing basically, as oil and gas industry, although I'm a supplier, and many basically, so to bring the price back into the normal level, OPEC basically cut the oil production. Then I think we basically helped, and so many industries to really bring down the gas production cost with break-even cost less than 2.5 MMBTU, so that by optimizing, and then by reducing the OPEX cost by various technological advancements and all that. Other thing basically now which is picked up is energy transition. I talked, and decarbonization, that is again because of this pandemic, that is accelerated. Then hydrogen, ammonia, methanol, new plastics, that again basically these areas, as I told you, basically because of energy transition, hydrogen is coming as a new energy source, so that people started focusing more on that. Then all companies basically started, I think the directive from the government was to really protect the employees health and safety, so that's why they said don't really force these people to come to office or something, let them work from home. And other thing is to preserve cash. Yeah, particularly not spending on to the capital expenditures and not spending to the shareholders, money to the shareholders. So Shell basically particularly has not given any dividends to the shareholders the last 2 years. Then I think opportunities basically again came here to restructuring of the organizations, where bigger companies consolidate very significantly, and smaller companies, which are really innovative type of companies, they were able to survive because of their innovative ideas. Uh, Much of the oil and gas supply industry was in a dire position. It was in a very big crisis. So this basically again supply chain reconfiguration. Like what we have done for Elixir as well. The Remedies sir and other companies basically come together, and we are coming as a one umbrella under Elixir, and we are trying to support each other so that we can win more jobs. So this, although pandemic is there, although this is a crisis, basically we take basically uh, chance to form our own views, form our new companies, or form our reconfiguration, and then joining with other companies as well, and take this opportunity, take this basically pandemic as an opportunity to grow our company future. So that's what Elixir has done. Yeah, sorry, yeah, I cut short a little bit. Yeah, any questions, guys?
So thank you so much, sir. It was very useful, very informative. Thank you.
I don't know how much basically you guys picked up, whether anybody is working in oil and gas or something.
Vishwas sir, it was very informative, and few of the guys are there, hardcore oil and gas offshore peoples, design
Okay,
also, inspection also. Yeah, it is a combination of all this. Our RIT also very well known and very old, institutional organization from our area. So good peoples are there.
I'm expecting some questions basically then. Yeah.
Yeah, questions will be there. But first we will cover second speaker, then question
Okay.
answer session, opening session will be there. So Vishwas sir, we will have a question answers afterwards. Thank you very much for your informative session. I would like to welcome our second speaker, my friend Sanjay Khandagle. Actually, he is also from very rural area and developed himself, and even leaded many organizations. I think he will brief on that. So I would like to welcome Sanjay on this platform, and I want to hand over him for further this thing. Sanjay, are you there? No?
Yeah, I'm
Yes.
very much there. Okay, let me switch on my video.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
hope I'm audible and visible to you all.
Yeah. Please go ahead.
Okay, great. Thank you, Ramesh. Thank you, Vishwas, for the excellent presentation. I will take you through my life journey a little bit, and then I will take you through the challenges that we have in any pandemic. And that's how I would like to really take you all through the life journey, which is quite memorable and quite adventurous. I believe in adventure. I take huge risks, and that has taught me everything in my life. Okay. With good friends like Ramesh, we are always in touch. We have worked together on many fronts. We have passion to develop the rural, the urban, mostly the rural lot of students, and that's what is my passion also most of the time. So basically I passed my diploma from Government Polytechnic Pune. I topped Maharashtra at the time, then did my BE Mechanical from Sardar Patel, did my Executive MBA, and plus means I have around 17 different certifications all across the world. Wherever I found that I didn't have knowledge, I ventured into that particular area and I gained the knowledge, certification, and I almost became an expert in things. So that is how I went on learning and growing in my life. Right now, I'm heading Vishal Structurals WLL. It is an Indian company where I started in Bahrain. I gave them a job, a project here, and they said, Sanjay, why don't you head this organization across Middle East, North Africa, and Southeast Asia? I said, fine, no problem. But meantime, I also started my own organization called Signet International. One of my partner is handling. That is into mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. That is also growing very well. And basically, I've spent around 29 years in oil and gas sector. And that's how I try to really look into areas of interest wherever I went. Okay. Ramesh, have you uploaded the company presentation? Okay. I don't think he has. I don't think he has uploaded the presentation. But okay. Anyway, Vishal Structurals is a 42-year-old institution. We are into oil and gas construction, EPC. We have worked with almost all the Fortune 500 companies in India. And this is the second time I have brought them out of India. And now we have offices in Kuwait, Singapore, and shortly we are going to establish office in Vietnam and Indonesia. This is a father-son duo company. Father has started the company for last 37 years, and the son has taken over, a brilliant engineer, and he has aspirations to grow. So that is how I have helped them to really come into Middle East, and that's how we are going great. But handling two companies has its own challenges. Like today, I was completely stressed out, but then Ramesh gave me this opportunity to come to my passion of teaching, speaking, where I love to hear my own voice. So you will have to bear with me. Okay. So this is the company. We are into mostly oil and gas. We have ventured into infrastructure also, and that's how it is. We have got a lot of awards from the basically the Indian National Oil Company, you name it. We have done record execution of projects, completely safe, quality perfect, and fantastic job performed. So that's what Vishal stands for. The other company, Signet International, we work in US Navy bases in Bahrain, and in a span of 2.5 years, we have got our turnover to around 12 crores. So that's how it is. But then doing projects is a challenging job. We all know. We are all engineers, and we need to take up challenges and also weigh the risks and returns. And that's where we need to really understand how do we really move forward in tough situations that we come across, and how do we really build our capabilities in pandemic situations like COVID. Okay, so this particular pandemic came last year, starting of February, March. It started in December in China, and till January, February, the world was not really aware of it, and then February it all started. Now, if you really look into any such pandemic, and if you look at the history, you will find that every 100 years you will have such a sort of pandemic where it will cripple the entire humanity at large. It will cripple the entire what do you call industries, and it will give us a lesson that even though you progress very much, even though the level of human intelligence is par excellence at any point in time, even though there are leaders across the world, okay, even though there are best technocrats across the world, but every 100 years there is a situation where the world gets crippled completely. Okay, and If you remember, 100 years back, it was plague. And one of the finest handling of the plague situation was done by none other than our great Guru Rajarshi Shahu Maharaj in Kolhapur. I mean, he took up the best of the knowledge from the European countries. He went to UK himself. He got all the things lined up, and Kolhapur was the area where we had the minimum mortality. That means the death rate was very, very low at that particular point in time. Because this was a king who was ready to learn, ready to unlearn, ready to implement, ready to challenge the traditions, ready to challenge the blind faiths, and yet create an impact for the benefit of humanity. And this is where I pay my homage to this great leader, and I start this particular sort of experience sharing with the entire team of RIT or RAAH RIT, where I find that almost 50 odd people have joined, and all of them have the willingness and ability to learn, and that is why they have joined, even though it is right around quarter to 10 or something. Okay. So let's go ahead, and as I take Rajarshi Shahu Maharaj's example in terms of handling the pandemic, somehow I was not able to capture some photographs, but I would have certainly done so. What really happens is, in any pandemic, it is just like getting married. You know, when there is a marriage at home, okay, we don't really plan like a project management thing, but then a few elders comes together and then they start working on it. Then they start printing the Lagna Patrikas and all those things. Then it starts, okay, and then till the end everything goes fine till the akshadas are put, okay, and then the marriage comes to an end. So we are all capable of handling small projects in our lives, okay. Taking care of our own education, taking care of building a house, taking care of marriage. But then we need to really understand that managing a pandemic is what do you call 1,000 times or 10,000 times or 1 lakh times more complicated. And this complexity is very well highlighted through a concept called as VUCA, okay. VUCA. V means volatility. You see, when this COVID situation came, it was so volatile that nobody was able to guess what is happening, how far it will go, how many people it will impact, and what will be the situation like. It was so volatile that nobody was really able to really gauge the situation at any point in time. And that usually happens in any project as such. But then once you are in control of certain variables, it becomes very easy to do it. Unfortunately, we were caught unawares. Even the government, the entire world was caught unawares, and that is how things became very much volatile. The other concept is uncertainty. Things were so uncertain at all the times that nobody in their right senses were able to really understand what is going to happen next. Everything was uncertain, and nobody was really prepared for the uncertainty. The complexity was so huge that the disease, in terms of, even though there are the best of the doctor, the best of the research institutes were there, but the complexity was so huge. Even though there was one disease, but still the complexity was so huge because it was affecting human beings across the world. People were dying, and the level of complexity was so high that the best of the scientists were not able to really plot the variables that were at play at any point in time. And things were so ambiguous that you never know that a person that is affected will immediately die the next moment. Some people, even though at the last stage, could recover. And the situation was so dangerous that the near and dear ones were also not able to bury the people in the cemetery, and they were not able to give their last rites. So this was the situation that really happened in this particular pandemic. And in technical terms, we call it as VUCA, or management terms, we call it as VUCA: volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. And this is where we were caught totally unawares. And as Indians, we have a culture called as chalta hai. Okay? Ho jayega. Okay? Everything will be brought under control. Okay? And the most responsible people started behaving irresponsibly. The most qualified people started behaving like uneducated people. And even the best of the people who were supposed to behave properly, they didn't behave accordingly because they were not at all aware of the impact of the pandemic at any point in time. In turn, what
Next
happened?
slide. Yeah, Sanjay, sorry. Rohit, next slide.
Next slide. Yeah, next slide, please. Yeah. So in turn, what happened is the world has to go through a sudden change in one and a half years time, and the change is continuing, and the change is going to be constant now because the human behaviors have changed, the fear has gripped the people, and the research or the vaccines have come into place that has made things to a new normal now. So as far as industries are concerned, this will be the new normal continuously because the pandemic is going to take enormous proportion as we go along. So you find a vaccine for one sort of a variant, the next moment the next variant will come, and you will have to find out solutions continuously. And that is how when we are handling project, we need to be very, very careful of planning the things because governments can only do very little. Okay, even the management has turned into mismanagement, and you have seen in India what has happened. I don't need to emphasize. The resources that were plentiful available in India, okay, suddenly we were found without resources, and industries went without people. Okay, finance, what happened to the financial condition, the economic conditions. Okay, and you know how small scale industries, medium scale industries, and the heavy industries, how they suffered. Okay, and whatever people were working on as a core team, they got completely stressed out. Okay, because we have never prepared the industry, we have never prepared the professionals to be competent in such a situation. And we found the best of the people becoming highly incompetent at times, and they were not able to perform at all. And the world came to a standstill. So as far as things are concerned, the old ways of working are not going to work in such a sort of pandemic. And the pandemic is going to continue in some form or the other. In fact, a new technology war is going to happen in this particular way, and that is going to impact the industries as a whole. So as we people who come from a very modest background, from a rural background, we need to prepare ourselves very much fast in order to unlearn things at the earliest. Okay, and unlearning is also a competency now. Okay, whatever has worked earlier, it is not going to work. You need to pick up fast clues and help things to really move fast. Otherwise, what will happen is you will believe on the old learning habits, and that is not going to work. And that is what has happened. Few industries, despite lockdown, despite COVID, they were able to adapt technology. They were able to really build up their core team, and they were able to do their jobs in some way or the other. Not 100%, but at least during the start, 10%, 20%, 30%, and slowly they started gathering momentum in whatever way possible. So unlearning is one phenomena that we need to really be very good at during such pandemic challenge. Once you unlearn something, you have to fill the vacuum with learning, and the learning has to be super fast. Now, most of our people who have come from rural background, they never had laptops in their house. They never even had mobiles in their, even students who are told to study online, and 90% of the rural children never had even a mobile or an internet at home. Okay, so you can imagine how will they really learn? How will they, if they don't have resources, how they will learn? But yet learning is more important, because nowadays the uneducated people are not going to be the people who are not gone to universities and all, but now the uneducated people will be people who don't have technology at their disposal. And that is where we need to be very, very clear in terms of adapting to technology very fast, learning fast, changing fast. Now the old ways of working are not going to work out, so you have to change so fast, and the change is going to be constant now. So the moment you reach a certain point, you need to change further and further and further. So that is how we need to really look at things. You remember the old computer, how big it was with a floppy disk and all. But as the technology progressed, as the intelligence progressed, the desktop computer became a laptop, a tablet, a mobile, and now we don't know what we are going through now. Artificial intelligence, okay, VR, and so on and so forth are coming fast. So you need to really change fast, because if you don't change, then change is going to change you forever. So changing fast is very, very important. Innovation, whatever industry you are in, try to bring in the maximum innovation. And innovation doesn't require a big research laboratory and all. Small innovations can really make a difference. Okay, and that is where you have to encourage new ideas, start an idea scheme in your organization, in college, wherever you are, give new ideas, encourage those ideas so that innovation happens fast. So incidentally, I have worked on all these domains at any point in time. So apart from my engineering, I did my MBA, I did my psychology also for 3 years. I'm a life member of Bombay Association of Psychotherapists, because what I found was management is nothing but psychology. So I learned psychology. I treated patients. I worked with criminals. Okay, I worked with so many people, and then I became an executive coach where I trained business heads, where I trained CEOs, where I trained teachers in building their competencies. Ramesh and both of us worked on student competency model, teachers competency model, and the management competency models also. So that is how innovation really comes in at the fore. Adapting fast. So it is not the people who will really change, will really survive, but people who can adapt fast are going to really survive. And that is how one quality that we need to imbibe is adapt fast. Quickly adapt and move ahead. Okay, and that is how get going. If you don't adapt, then what happens to Nokia? You know, Nokia was a very good phone, very efficient, okay, long-lasting battery life and all. But where is Nokia now? Samsung, iPhone have taken their place because they were not able to adapt to the new technology faster, because they were happy with whatever progress they got. Getting results is very important. You will be only called a leader in the industry. You will be only called a leader only when you get consistent results, irrespective of the challenges, irrespective of the volatility, ambiguity, complexity that is there. You should not give up. Okay, and you have to continuously get results. So getting results has become one of the great competency that is there. And ultimately, you have to sustain the momentum continuously, so that one after the other you can take challenges. So this is a great reformer called Martin Luther King Jr., who says that if you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. By all means, keep moving in this pandemic. Okay, don't stay quiet. And that is where I wish to tell all the faculty and the students here. Okay, this is one of the quote that keeps me moving all the time, irrespective of the challenges that are faced. Okay, can you go on to the other slide, please? Yeah. So what are the competencies for success in such a pandemic? Okay, in this VUCA age. Okay, first and the foremost thing is we need to have empathy. Okay, empathy means the capability to put yourselves in other shoes, people who are suffering, and try to alleviate the suffering of the people. Okay, try to remove the suffering of the people. Okay, incidentally, just an example, my son passed his medicine MBBS with flying colors. And my mother, who was not well, she recovered. And when she heard this good news, she says, "Beta, I always wanted you to become a doctor." That is my son, Dipankar. And what she told was, even though she came out of this serious condition, she told him that, "Dipankar, you go now and do your service for the people." So that is the level of empathy we need to have, okay, not only for our employees, but for humanity at large in such a situation, okay? And that's where we need to be highly empathetic. But then you should not be empathetic to an extent that people will take advantage of you. But in industry, what you require is tough love. That means you love your people, you love your subordinates, you love your people who are working under you, but make sure that it is a tough love which helps in delivering results, okay? And that is where we need empathy, but we also need tough love, okay, in certain times of pandemic. The other
Sanjay,
thing is effective
yeah.
communication. Yeah.
Sorry to bother you.
Yeah.
We have a very limited time. Yeah, I
Okay,
will
so-
request you to finish within few minutes so that we will have a question answer session and close.
Sure.
Please. Yeah.
Sure. So the next competency is effective communication. We are all going to be leaders in some way, holding some positions. And for students, effective communication is very, very important. So in such a pandemic, most often than not, people get fearful and then they don't communicate. And that is how communication is becoming more and more important. The other capability that we need to have during such a pandemic is systems thinking. Systems thinking is nothing but being able to understand the variables that are affecting a certain situation, plotting down the variables, and trying to control the variables at certain point in time. This is what is systems thinking. So during the time of pandemic, there are at least 12,000 to 13,000 variables that needs to be managed. Okay, and one of the capability that we need to develop is really how to really find out all those variables and try to control those variables. What has happened in India is we were not able to really plot down the variables well, identify the variables, and we were not able to really find out how they are controlled, and that is why everything went beyond control. Scenario planning. Now, this is a scenario planning exercise where all engineers need to really have this scenario planning, that if this happens, what are we going to do? If such a pandemic happens next time, okay, are the engineers, are the industries prepared for the eventuality? So you plan scenarios 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then also do the action planning at certain point in time. Also build your performance accordingly, and then when such a situation comes, you immediately implement that plan. Unfortunately, Indians are very poor in scenario planning, and that is where I will tell you just one example quickly, so that because when the 9/11 happened and when the World Trade Center was burned down, okay, because of the terrorist attack, only one company was able to really start its operation in just one day, within 24 hours, because they had planned such things well. They had a satellite server outside. From that server, they had their people who were ready, capable, and those few people flew down for a different location, and they started the entire industry back in just 24 hours. So if you have scenario planning, then things will really be great. Something called as ruthless execution during such time is very, very essential. As Ramesh pointed out, there is something called as flawless execution, and we as engineers need to have flawless execution at times, as Vishwas demonstrated through the commissioning challenge that he had. So you need to really have this flawless execution competency with you. Resilience is bouncing back. Anything happens, okay, whatever might be the situation, you have to come back and again start. Okay, again start attempting. Don't give up. Most important thing is strategic talent management. Okay, you need to have your strategic talent in place, identify the resources and keep them in place, so that during such time of emergency, you know which person has to be utilized during the such crisis and which person is going to bring in results. And thank you so much for the time given to me, and thank you for listening patiently.
Thank you, Sanjay. Thank you. It was very nice and informative session. In fact, that is what we were looking for, because this is our business forum group, and we were expecting to have some relief or some thought process to our business friends who are at new startups, who are already have their business. Thank you very much. I think we will start now the question answer session for the both these things, as we are increasing our time, because our last deadline is 10:30, but it has been increased for 4 minutes. So further 5 minutes we are increasing for question and answer sessions.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, Ajaruddin, please
Yeah,
go ahead.
I'm Azhar here. My question to our both respected speakers. Today's session is related to the business and management or the effects due to pandemic. But my question is quite a specific technical one. That is, I myself and my friends completed MTech Master of Technology in Thermal Engineering, and we did our as a fresher we did our job in HVAC industry, heating and ventilation, air conditioning. So my question to our both speakers is how and what are opportunities for thermal engineer in oil and gas industry? Actually, it is technical one, but can you please tell me in brief so that it will guide for our future career?
Right.
Sanjay, unmute. Yeah, Vishwas, please
No,
go
no
ahead.
problem.
Vishwas,
No,
please go
Sanjay, you
ahead.
can, and then I can follow that.
No, you go ahead, please.
Right. Thermal engineering in oil and gas, particularly, I'll tell you, this is very, very important. And there are some colleges as well who does a 1-year course in thermal engineering also. So I'll tell you how it helps in oil and gas. Mainly oil and gas, if you really see all these turbine, power supply turbines are gas turbines. And these gas turbines, and then followed by, you have HRSG, and then you have a steam turbine. So all that, is a part of oil and gas utilities. And definitely that helps in basically if you've got a good knowledge about combined power cycle, and then converting basically, single cycle to combined cycle with HRSG. Basically, Thermax has got those type of, HRSG plants, or some other companies also has got HRSG, as their design. So that is definitely, it will help you in coming into the oil and gas as a expert in energy sector. Other basically, there are some course, there is some basically, energy pinching or basically pinch technology or something. There are some companies. I got one of my friend, whose name is Deshpande. He has got his, again, same company. They are working in this energy sector and trying to give basically how basically, your utility consumption and energy consumption can be reduced. So yeah, you got a good scope everywhere if you really are a thermal engineer.
Thank you, Vishwas. Thank you. Sanjay, any comments? Please unmute yourself. Sanjay, you are mute.
Yeah, that was a good perspective by Vishwas. For me, I look at thermal engineering from three perspectives. One is from a technology perspective. The other is from what do you call a sustainable planet perspective. Okay, and the third one is from if you really look into from an Indian perspective. Okay, from a technology perspective, it has huge scope in terms of innovation, doing a lot of research. Okay, and I know students who have come abroad and they have done their research in thermal engineering. Okay, and they have gone on to develop new technologies also at times. Okay, so there's a huge scope from a technology perspective. Unfortunately, the best of the technologies come from either Germany, either Canada, US, okay, and most of the European countries. We hardly have anything as such. So India has a huge scope from a technology perspective. So we need to have this bent of mind in order to get into research and try to really pursue one path and do some technology, bring in some technology. Okay, from a sustainability perspective, the industries that are booming now are the industries that are able to capture heat and manufacture certain new technologies that will really take that heat into consideration and convert it into some other energy part of it. So I know a few companies in Saudi who have adopted this particular technology, and they have their own heat pumps sort of a thing. They have their own heat derivation technologies that are available from that perspective. Okay. Again, this is another area that we need to. There's a huge scope from a thermal engineering point of view.
Thank you.
Apart from the normal HVAC and all those things. Okay, HVAC, I do HVAC in one of my companies, but there is a lot of research that needs to be done. And right now there are some technologies that can save electricity to the tune of 40%. So students need to get used to those technologies that can reduce the energy consumption sort of a thing. And the last one is India. We have a great challenge in terms of our thermal power plants emitting carbon dioxide, and we are the highest carbon emitters as far as our thermal plants are concerned. So the government of India, especially the government of Maharashtra, we are not getting technology providers to really convert our flue gas distribution into capturing the carbon and taking it forward. Like there are tenders in India which we are trying to really look into. I have brought in companies, but the outside technology providers are not really coming in. So this is one of the area that our students can really get into, and I think Vishwas can really help in bringing the FGD technology in place, where the Maharashtra government is really looking for such players. The funds are available, and the 5 power plants need to be really converted into the FGD new technology, dry and wet, so that we reduce the carbon emissions. So for students, these are all the opportunities that are there, and certainly it needs to be encashed as we go along.
Yeah, thank you, Sanjay. I think there is one question on board. We will complete that and we can complete this session. That is by Sanket Munde. How to scale a service business in India, especially in these times, pandemic times? How to scale service business in India?
I think Sanjay, because I don't have much experience in India, because I started my one company here in VSSR Enterprises. So again, I'll tell you, scale up when you really want to do. Important thing in your life, guys, networking, very important. Particularly if you really have a good network, yeah, you can scale up your business. You need to really always, talk with the sweet, talk with the sugar in your tongue. You have to be really polite when you talk. You have to really be have your unique selling point. If you really want to approach the people, you need to decide what is your selling point, and accordingly, if you approach, and then there's always a need for your services. You need to tap that market. You need to know various experts in this field. You have to present yourself to the various forums and talk about your technology, like I'm doing basically for carbon capture, what Sanjay was telling. So I do that basically, and just tell that I got expertise in this field if you want to utilize. So scale up basically depends on how you are going to present your technologies to various forums. They have a good network. That's all I can say.
Yeah, Sanjay, please go ahead.
Yeah, very relevant question during that time. Most often than not, unfortunately, can somebody switch off their mic, please? Yeah. So unfortunately, our education system has produced more clerks than technocrats, and that is one of the area that we need to look into. So you need to get out from a 9-to-5 job sort of a perspective to a 24/7 creative working perspective. Okay, that is very, very important. And the moment you get out of that trap, then you will find various avenues and challenges and problems faced by people, industries, and the country as such. And when you try to apply your skill sets, your education, and your common sense, which is so uncommon, that you will be able to really come out with new ideas, new innovations, and new ways of doing business and providing solutions together. Okay, so that is where we need to look into. Third thing is huge networking. Okay, if you have a great network, then people really come together and they try to support you. So that is where we need to be very, very clear. During such times of pandemic, one is you have to get over your fear of what will happen next, and try to move from hopelessness to full of hope at any point in time, that this is going to happen at any point in time. And that is where many of the industries, many of the small scale industries, many of the small innovators, startups have really came up with such a mentality, and now they are getting funding and everything, okay, in order to promote their new products. People are helping, and I think we need to create this microcosm of such things to help people who want to really develop entrepreneurship, small scale industries, medium scale industries, so that they really go hand in hand. Okay, so understand that the VUCA concept and developing new competencies is very, very important. Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Sanjay sir, for giving the answer in a very clear and clear manner. Now I request Mr. Abasayeb to ask the question.
Thanks, Rohit. My question is to Mr. Vishwas. I think being in the petrochemical industry for a long time, the current situation, especially barrel price going down, negative you mentioned. I think what is impact on engineering consultancy projects? I think it's really a bad situation out here in India. Even Indian consultants like traditional consultants, Uday, Toyo, or Mott McDermott and all are suffering, and they are doing overseas jobs. I think they are doing for last couple of years. So what they are doing now, and are there any big projects going on?
As I basically told you, oil and gas, Europe, particularly if you see in Europe perspective, Shell, I work for Shell as well. Most of the big companies, BP is coming out of oil and gas, and they are just moving into the renewables. Shell has slowly, basically, they said they will come out, but they will still continue, because oil and gas is not going to go away in a day or something. But there's a big move in USA, in UK, in Europe, to really go away from oil and gas and go more for the renewables, where the renewables will be used for the generation of the electricity. That generation of electricity will be used for the hydrogen production. There is a technology is being developed, but with all these technologies and people are going away from oil and gas, there's a very less work available to the consultancies, and people are moving from consultancy companies who are really doing regular or traditional engineering, that they are moving away. And I have some of my friends in Aberdeen, Scotland here, they have moved to some other businesses. And here in UK, I'll tell you, the shifting from one business to other is not a big stuff here. I think is very acceptable here. But in India, if you're really a big director or something, and if you're really going to change from one profession to other, it's a social status or something. People take it as and I think a lot of people are facing a lot of issues in India. I heard one of my friends are jobless for a long time. And other issue in industry is that if you are really 55 or something, you expect very high salary, and people are not ready to give that high salaries. People are really offering jobs only up to you got a 15 to 20 years of experience with very not really a good comfortable salary, but a very normal salary or something. So it's a big challenge now, and people have to really think about something different, which they can like innovative ideas, maybe go for artificial intelligence, that type of work, something new, something unique. I think you need to think about. Yeah, the big issue is even in Uday, even I got a lot of my friends who are a very high position in Uday. Then Mott McDonald, I worked for Mott McDonald as a regional head there. In Middle East, basically no major work, and people are facing a lot of problem now. Yeah.
Just to continuing the question on the Shell side, because you work for Shell. Shell recently declared that by 2030 they will be cutting their emissions, carbon emissions, by 50%. So,
Yes.
being Shell, do you feel it will open up a big door for opportunities for engineers?
No, in fact, I'll tell you, oil and gas opportunity will be reduced. Now they are going that, as I said, energy transition. So they have basically another department which has energy transition, where they are focusing more on hydrogen, and there is a lot of research going on hydrogen. So what is that hydrogen? So hydrogen will be generated from SMR technology, steam to methane, steam methane reformer, and some other technologies also there. So that hydrogen basically will be mixed with the natural gas grid, which is supplied to home users and all that. So their target is to really grow up to 5%, so that same burners can be used. But in future, they would like to go up to 95% of hydrogen. Already some heavy vehicles, they have started using hydrogen now, like Aberdeen buses are with hydrogen now. So most of the cases, if you really see from job perspective, not really a good perspective for general oil and gas. But if you really switch to this hydrogen and carbon capture and all that, which I am doing for my own company as well, there's a good future.
Great. Just update, Ramesh. I think recently I have circulated one video. Vishwas sir, IIT Chennai has done a lot of work on hydrogen generation from seawater. It's a very interesting video. I think people or members on our forum can refer it on our groups. Over to you, Ramesh. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Abba. So with this, though it is a 10:50 minutes, we are 20 minutes little bit late, but no issue, as this session is like a never-ending session, and we are going through tough times. And with your valuable time and valuable guidance, I believe our members or our business peoples will have some ideas and will have some different principles with them. I'm really very much thankful to both of you from your very busy schedule, and having the difference in time also. You have given valuable time to us, and we may need in future also your guidance as usual. You know well, you both. So you will be part of our this platform, and I'm really thankful from RAAH for this beautiful explanation and presentations. Thank you very much. Thank you all members. Yeah, please.
Okay. As regards to Abba Sahib question, the question was very pertinent and Vishwas answered it well. But since we are talking to so-called learners who want to grow in this particular field of oil and gas, oil and gas works in cycles. Okay, so every 7-8 years there is a change in consumption, the change in the cycle, and the price of crude changes. Okay, and it again increases for some time and it again reduces. So that is the cycle. Okay, there are other parameters that are intentionally induced, like Gulf War and all those things. Okay, that also creates a certain sort of a new cycle in oil and gas. Okay, now if you really look at Shell has planned 100 years in advance. They have 100 years scenario planning in place. Okay, it is not that Shell has taken the decision today to move away from fossil fuels. This scenario was planned almost around 11 years back. Okay, and that is how Shell comes out with a yearly book called as scenario planning, and that is how they plan their entire oil and gas business. Now the oil and gas business is not going to go away for another 10 to 12, another 30 to 35 years, as per the book called, if you read it, The End of Oil. Okay, so see, another 50 years, the traditional fossil fuels are going to continue with the new technologies that are coming up. For educational institutes like us, we need to train our engineers to be specialists. Okay, where they will be high-end specialists in the fossil fuel category also, and at the same time adapt the renewable energy category also, and that is a big challenge. Okay, so new technologies in oil and gas are coming. Okay, efficient technologies are coming in, and that is how including the IT and the systems perspective, it is helping the oil and gas in order to really be more efficient. Okay, so even though the crude oil is right now low at this particular point in time, but still projects are happening, even though at break even. but the projects have to be sustained as we go along, because industry needs work. Okay, people cannot sit quiet, and that is how in the Middle East there are still few projects that are coming up. Like in Bahrain, there is a big BMP project that is coming up, already come up, 4.2 billion. There's a metro project coming up around 4.5 billion. Okay, and that is how things are continuously moving ahead as we go along. So for industries, for educational institutes, we need to generate specialists so that they sustain in the long run in this uncertain world of immediate huge technological development and new energy adoption. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Sanjay. Thank you very much for your valuable time. And Vishwas, thank you very much. We will meet again. And I hereby declare the session is closed. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank
Good
you,
night.
and all the best to all.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thanks. Bye. Bye. Bye.
Thank you.